All right, everybody, welcome to the Creative Harmony Podcast. It has been a while, hasn't it, Brie?
Yeah, it has. Yeah. Ebb and flow, man. Ebb and flow.
Yeah, that's
when
right.
It rains,
peaks and valleys.
Peaks and valleys. When it rains, it pours.
That's right. So what is it doing right now?
It has been, what's crazy about creating content is that when you're not posting a lot of like things like this, it's usually when you're the busiest, in my opinion. I feel like when I'm really busy, I am silent to the digital world.
That's true.
And when I'm like chilling, I'm like, oh, let's post those things I did like last month or. I
always tell people that if I'm posting stuff, it means I'm in between a gig or something like that. Because if I'm working, like there's no way I could even, because it takes time to like film something and edit it.
So there's our excuses out there for you. Yeah. Sorry.
There's our disclaimers. Yeah, we are back at it for now. We'll see.
In the saddle again.
It is the holidays. So we'll see how it goes. Happy holidays, everyone. Well, this is an exciting episode because we are, to be honest, we actually filmed this once before. And someone didn't push record on a few things, so we kind of lost it. And
I think we filmed over it, actually, with another exciting podcast.
Yeah, we did. We will show you that podcast eventually.
Yeah.
But this week we were talking about the power of collaboration, which is a kind of something we do every day. It's maybe one of the topics that we can maybe speak into the most because we're just constantly collaborating. I mean, you and I collaborate all the time, but then we're also out there collaborating with other people frequently. So,
for sure.
I think it's gonna be an exciting episode.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the first thing that we should probably like jump into is just the power of collaboration and basically what a gold mine it is to have like creative minds around you, right?
Yeah.
So let's jump into that first.
Okay. Yes, let's do it. So I think that collaboration is kind of everything. I think I've lived like as a film composer, you kind of have this, like you're this lone wolf, you're in your studio by yourself. Like I went from being in bands and all that kind of stuff to then just being by myself in a studio for literally 10 years. And it's crazy because...
Not to be dramatic.
I didn't realize how much that affected me because starting a couple years ago, I wanted to start getting out of the studio, start writing songs again, even though you're collaborating with filmmakers, it's just a little different. You're not with someone in a room collaborating. And that I think is a really big deal for an artist. Being in the room, being tactile, like seeing someone's instant response to your idea, like kind of helps you gauge what really matters or not.
To be fair, I have seen when you get to kind of the end of so you'll be in your laboratory cooking up all of the magic, and then afterwards I feel like you're with a director, and then so every once in a while it takes that final push of like, okay, let's sit down together. I'll work on my stuff over here, you work on your stuff over there. And I've seen you do this little WeWork space thing, and somehow you guys magically get done like 10 times the amount of stuff because you're literally sitting in the same room together.
Yeah, well, that's
and he's able to speak.
That's true.
Directly into your score.
That's true.
So right there though, it's just proof.
The power of collaboration.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think we'll get to it, like how technology has affected that collaboration. Like the only reason we could even collaborate with people that aren't in your room is because of technology. So certainly that'll be a big topic. But obviously you have this, I mean, these days you're doing huge fashion shows and stuff like that. So you're collaborating on like a large scale with a super tight deadline with all the stakes.
For sure. So part of the reason we couldn't, record stuff was that I was just in Spain, and then I was in the Netherlands for 2 big shows that were so exciting, and really it took an army. Because one of the shows, maybe it doesn't sound like a lot to people, but 10 models is a lot of models to be on like one, like, it's just crazy for the caliber of the show that we're doing.
Yeah.
So it literally takes like a crew of hairdressers and a crew of makeup artists and the stylist. And when I was creative directing for both of these, the second one in Spain, or the first one in Spain, I got to creative direct with a friend. And then the other one I creative directed on my own. So it was a really interesting thing to be able to see like, oh, let's create something that feels like us. And then it was like jumping right into like, this is all on you, and we're looking to you to like make this vision come to life.
That was awesome.
And
I love how the second one turned out too. I mean, both are great. I was there for the first in Spain, and then just did some music for the second one.
Which is so fun.
But
Crossover's fun.
they were both so unique the way that you executed both of those.
Well,
you know?
well, all that to say, like there is a certain amount of like giving up of some vision when you are collaborating with somebody, right? Like you're kind of like, and you end up in a place that you might not have ended up, right? If you were by yourself, you absolutely end up in a place that you would not have ended up in.
Right.
But also sometimes for the better, almost always for the better, I would say. But we don't live in a perfect world, and sometimes there's collaborations that are really hard, you know?
Yeah.
Luckily, the guy that I was collaborating with for that show, we have very similar taste and view of things, and he's happy to take the reins at times. I'm happy to take the reins at times, and it's beautiful and it works out. It's magical. It's like this dance. And then there's those other times, right?
Yeah.
Where it's maybe not that way.
You're just constantly climbing uphill.
Yes.
It's muddy.
Yes.
You're slipping.
But there's
nothing to hold on
gold.
to.
There, literally, but there's like gold at the end of both of those experiences.
Right.
And I feel like also, I think the ones that are even harder, the more difficult the collaboration, the more I've grown and the more it's actually poured into my work
100%.
in the future. So
100%.
So it's always gold. Collaboration is like key. Absolutely.
Yeah. It's funny how if you are on that same like wavelength with someone that you're collaborating with, it is such a delight. Like it's like so fun. Everything is working. You throw out a suggestion and they're like, yes. And then they throw out a suggestion to you and you're like, yes. And then like somehow you like, to use the analogy of climbing up a hill, like you get up there quick. You're like, boom, we just conquered this mountain.
You're just
boom.
throwing each other up.
Whereas if you're, the collaborations where you throw out a suggestion all excitingly and then they're like, I don't know.
I just
about
don't
that.
see it.
And then you
that
have to
way.
you have to put on a totally different hat where you're like, okay, this is going to be kind of an uphill one. And now you have to be careful of what you say, how you communicate. You also are kind of hoping they're doing the same. Because if they come right at you with like being rude or they're just like shoot down your idea, you're just like, it could kind of crush you and almost make you not even want to collaborate. Right. But I think that as I've found through the years, some of the best collaborations are the ones where there's friction. The result is certainly the best because they push you so far.
Right.
But I do it, the way that you kind of get there matters, like the way you communicate and all that kind of stuff. But I learned so much from those ones, probably the most.
I want to throw you a compliment really quick because I feel like you are very, very gifted. And so if there's anything you could impart to us all about just even how you speak with the director, with the producer, with the editor, with like you're working with every single person, and you're kind of that final push too. So everyone's looking at you like, let's get this done. You know what I mean? And everybody has opinions, and the client even can be the hardest one because sometimes they don't have the full creative vision that the team does,
right.
And they're just like off in left field. But anyway,
you're coming into people like at different emotional levels.
Yes.
So your director who's been working on this documentary in the wild for like 4 years is certainly way more invested in every note you write than the person who's being hired by a studio. And it's just kind of like we have, 6 weeks to pull this off. So it's like, let's go. But I've always appreciated, and I learned this from someone else giving me notes. It's almost like you give 2 compliments and then a critique.
Nice.
So you always say, oh, I really like this. Even if they don't, I could tell they didn't like it. Or like I just missed the mark on the first pass or second pass. The directors that are the best communicators are the ones that will give you kind of those 2 compliments and then they hit you with what they, need changed. Yeah. But it doesn't feel like a punch in the gut. It feels kind of like you're so right. Let's keep going. And that I think really matters. So when I'm collaborating with people, I do the same if someone asks me for notes or whatever I think. Yeah. I'm always conscious of kind of giving 2 compliments and then my critique.
You know how I'm going to remember this? We just went to a hoedown recently.
We sure did.
Fun fact. It was so fun. And I learned the 2-step and it's, what is it? Quick, slow. Oh, I guess it doesn't apply.
Left, right.
No. But
left,
it's like
right.
that. Like, it's like compliment, like, and then like an easy redirection of like, you know what I mean? Like, it's like, hey, good job on this. Well done on that. We're headed in the right direction. Quick, slow. And then like, let's slow down here.
Yeah.
let's like analyze this moment
Yeah.
and like how can we
Well,
mold this together to like, you know.
to like on this subject, what do you think about when someone doesn't give you notes and they're like, I like it? Like, do you really believe them?
To be
Because I
fair,
kind of don't. I'm kind of like,
Yeah.
wait, do they like it? Because you're game. You're like,
Are
I
we
want to make
cool?
this as good as it can be.
Yeah.
So you kind of have to have a little back and forth, or you kind of almost need back and forth.
Sure.
You need someone to give you some critique.
And I think that shows like your humility even, and even your desire for growth as an artist, because and the pride that you take in your work. So
Right.
when somebody gives you like a, hey, like we need to work on this, or they're like, you know, the hardest thing for me is because I teach a lot actually. So when I'm teaching and you have a student that like thinks they know it all, you just look at them and you're like, I'm happy to learn from you for sure. But why are you here? Like, why did you spend money? Why did you travel? Why did you get a hotel to come learn from, you know, like, so there is this like amount of like, you've got to really like take it as a complete opportunity when somebody does see something a different way.
Right.
You know, especially if you respect them. I mean, if you respect their work and you are like excited to work with this person, try not to get hurt. Try not to be
Right.
defensive. Try not, you know, and even if you feel those emotions at first, like take a minute to process it before you even jump on the notes to change some things.
Right.
You know, do it from,
I have something to say about that.
ooh, let's go. Let's hear it right now.
Okay. All right. Sorry to cut you off.
Nope, I'm done.
Yeah, like you've literally been there where I'm working on a project and you're kind of in the trenches. I'm not nailing it. It's just like deadline's coming and it's not there. It's really stressful. And so I keep sending something to this director and they keep coming back with like, no, and they're not communicating well. They're just being like, I don't know what I want, but this isn't it. So I'm just like
great.
okay, so you're like shooting an arrow in the dark, like trying to hit this target and you don't even know where it is. But they're pushing me forward and it is getting better and better every time. But like one day I remember waking up, and no one should do this. Like PSA, don't look at your email while you're still in bed when your alarm goes off. Like the stupidest thing you could ever do. Wake up, make some coffee, have some breakfast, and then, 9:00, then look at your email.
Then
No,
look
like
at
I
your
was
notes.
like, I was dreaming about this project. I woke up waiting for his notes. I saw the notes and they were like super negative. And I threw my phone. I was so mad. I was like, and then I felt instantly stupid because I'm like, why am I? Okay, calm down, Julian. Like you need to learn how to like, just, okay, listen to what they said, slow down. I don't know if I threw my phone. That's a little, I think I just like put my phone down, rather aggressively. I don't want you to think I threw it against the wall or anything.
Everybody's like,
But-
blink twice, Briana, if you're okay.
But like, no.
He's a gentle
But
giant.
I'm
truly.
not even kidding you. That particular cue
Yeah.
is one of my best work I've ever done.
Wow.
And it's only because this guy totally pushed me.
Mhm.
And it was a messy road, but we got there. And it was a big success. And I'm so proud of that.
Yeah.
And I think that, so just to like give you an example of like, you do have to learn how to take criticism.
For sure.
100%. That's like,
For sure.
and I don't know about you. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say, like, when you're like, growing up in bands,
Oh.
you're sitting there with your buddies throwing out an idea and they'll literally be like, you suck. Like, that was a stupid idea.
It's not
like,
a gentle
I
redirection.
literally hate that. Like, let's do my idea, because you're young.
No, bro, this chord is way better.
Yeah. And then like your friend's mom is like, boys, get some chimichangas. Like it's over. Like no more playing.
Yeah.
Times were quite different.
I think that like when it comes to collaborating with people above you and under you, I think that the goal for me is like if I have somebody who's my boss, it's like that I've served them really well
To the
and
best
that
of your
that I was honest in my work.
Right.
And that like I remember I was actually just getting interviewed for something coming up. I don't think I could fully talk about it yet.
It's very exciting. I know what it is. Can I say it? Just kidding.
No.
I won't do it. I won't do it.
But yeah, so whenever that comes out, there was a director actually sitting there while I was getting interviewed and I'm looking at her face and her expression on her face was like, like she was still searching, you know, like it was like I wasn't hitting something, even though it's my life story. I'm literally interviewing about my life story. I'm like, they're looking for something in particular. And so I kind of stopped the interview and I'm like, are you happy? So even the girl that was interviewing me, I was, you know, talking to her the whole time and I'm like engaging with her the whole time. But I'm like, I can't get over that this girl behind her, who's really the director, who's really like kind of working on the whole show, is like not stoked. And so I'm like, I don't know what I'm saying wrong because I'm just telling my life story, but are you happy? And she's like, and then when she kind of told me a little bit of what they were looking for, some kind of common thread, or she gave me a nugget of like, this is what we're trying to tie things together with, you know? And then asked me really beautiful questions that weren't really about my past, but more like more direct and more, you know, and then it was like gold came out. Like it was like the exact thing was like, it was like we were searching for something that was just up in space. And if we didn't all get honest and say like, we're not there yet, like, hang on, how do we, and you're like digging, you're digging together. You're like searching together. You're like discovering things together, you know? And that was a hard day. I felt very vulnerable. I felt super naked. I felt like, oh, are you not getting there because maybe it's me or like, what is it, you know? And then when it's like, hang on, let's set all of that aside.
Right.
And just like focus on this project and what is the best thing for this project and what do we need to, you know, and ask those questions directly and show people that you care more about that than anything else, you know, than your own ego or your own, you know.
Totally.
Yeah. So the power of collaboration, does bring out the best.
I imagine
if you let it.
Right before we move on, I imagine it like you're setting off on some jungle like excursion cruise or something like that. Like you're in the jungle where there's like bugs and everything's trying to kill you and all that kind of stuff. And so like that's what I feel like embarking on some sort of project is. And like you're with your person, whoever you're with, your whole team, and it's like getting hard, but it's like, you know, you're just on that journey and you're in the jungle and eventually you're going to get out, but you got to survive, but you only have this person to work with.
Right.
And I don't know, that's like what I kind of imagine when you're talking about that interview. You're all just kind of there searching, exploring. Yeah. And then you get there.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. You really got to kill your pride a lot, I think, in collaboration.
Oh, for
and
sure.
really care more about the product itself, whatever that is. But yeah, you mentioned something about like technology and how it's changing collaboration. Yes. So I think we should totally kind of like move into talking about the inevitable elephant in the room, which it's so funny. I have a different view now than if we had recorded this podcast a month ago or 2 months ago. I have a different opinion on this because of how fast technology is changing and how crazy AI is advancing.
Right.
And the ways that it can be used. So within collaboration and how is AI technology, like how is it changing collaboration in your viewpoint? And like do you have any examples of that in your work where it's been like helpful or hurtful or whatever, harmful?
Oh gosh. Well, I don't know if I'm totally I mean, AI, as far as collaboration goes, I mean, like we definitely ask AI questions. We'll ask ChatGPT like, hey, you know, I'm thinking about this. Can you like put together something for that? Or like, I'll literally like type in almost as if it's just another person to bounce something off of, you know,
Sure,
and you almost trust not trust AI, but it's like a cool little tool to like ask and like reach out to and be like,
kind of
what do you think
weird though
about
that
this?
you said trust AI.
Yeah, no,
weird.
Well, do you hear how I corrected myself? Like instantly, I'm like, I'm not going to say that I trust AI.
First mistake,
but
you
it
could
depends
make.
on what you're doing. Like you're talking about something creative, or you're talking about, you know, what's one thing we did? We just had to write a letter. Okay, so you kind of like freestyle type out something, and then you're like, hey AI, can you like help make this better? Like that kind of stuff is cool because like if you're collaborating with, you know, I would ask you to read through that and get your opinion. And then, you know, now I just ask ChatGPT and chats, you know, within like 5 seconds.
And trust
like,
them a
here
lot
you go.
more,
This
actually,
is great.
Which is, you know,
so,
fair.
I mean, like there's certain levels, I think, of integration with AI that, you know, at this point, you know, I'm not collaborating with AI to create a film although with Sora coming out,
people are starting to do
like
that.
starting to happen.
Yeah.
I know people are scripting stuff with AI.
Yeah.
I know that. So it's kind of like this weird fine line because you used to have editors, you used to
Yeah.
have like people. It's almost like AI is replacing the person I'd bounce something off of.
Right. And
'Cause-
inspiration photos for me. All the hair
Yeah.
inspiration pics, all the inspiration photos that they have up on it, like for fashion stuff, a
Yeah.
lot of it is AI now. So, yeah, for me with AI, it's like there's like a lot of inspiration pics. So like a lot of like inspiration photos are now AI. A lot of, things that were kind of, it's almost this like impossible feat to live up to this crazy AI generated thing, but it's also does push things forward. It does push us forward, even our artistry, even the things that we wouldn't have necessarily thought of that
Yeah.
like, because imagine AI is gathering information from everybody around the world
I know.
and then generating things based on what people want to see, what's trending, what's this, what's that.
I feel like, okay, so that's the slippery slope because it's taking all of mankind's hard work and now spitting it out to someone who's just asking really quickly. I like kind of hate that. But then on the flip side, when we're like needing something really quick, I kind of love that because I could just get something cool, and instead of going through the process of collaborating with someone and gosh, I don't know like if it's even, but like this is the honest thing. It's like it's cheaper to just collaborate back and forth with ChatGPT, figuring out the or mid journey. I use mid journey to get like a certain image. Like you just need like a cover image.
Yeah.
And you want it to be unique. You don't want to be pulling from some stock image somewhere.
Right.
And now you can have AI generate you something that's unique to you because your prompt is unique.
It's wild. So I do think there's a creative process there though.
Yes.
I do. And I'll say like, this is the types of things that I wouldn't have said a month ago are positive things. Everything I would have said a month ago was negative. Now I'm literally like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
There is actually like a creative process. It's only as good as the prompt.
Yeah.
As well
so
as.
you're still creative. You still have that human like creativity. Like your prompt matters.
It
like
does.
the way that you direct AI matters. Yeah. And I think there's an art in that. Right?
There is. But I also think, what's crazy is like, I think there's like a time for it and a time like absolutely not for it. And I think that there is a human, okay, let's put it into music terms for a minute. Like when I can hear somebody's fingers, and I know you can fake it now too, but when I hear somebody's fingers like run across a guitar string to get to the next chord, or I even hear, even in like some things where it's like a little bit more imperfect because it was one take all the way from the beginning to the end and there was no stop, start, right? Mm-hmm. Like if you want to create a perfect pop song, you can stop, start all day long until you get the exact take that you want.
Right.
But if you're going to like, it's just you and a guitar in an unplugged situation, and like there's so many songs that have become bigger than their recorded version that are the unplugged version for a reason. Right. There is an element and a quality that you cannot capture.
Truly.
And that will always exist.
Truly,
that will
truly.
always
that goes without
exist.
Saying.
So I feel less threatened though.
Yeah,
like I genuinely feel less threatened.
Humans will always win, no matter, or heart will always win.
Heart.
Honesty.
Yeah, soul.
Here's a great thing. It's like almost you have to now be honest. You have to now be authentic. You have to now do be completely human as opposed to putting out your like perception of what'll trend or what will actually look cool, like what people will like, because AI is just going to do that instantly. But this is really cool. So now everyone just is going to naturally gravitate to whatever's honest and true and human. Yeah. Almost like back to the beginning. It's almost like a full swing.
And that's the pendulum, right? Yeah. That's just the pendulum.
Yeah, swinging
and going back the other direction, because there has to be balance. And I feel like as everything becomes more plastic and fake and filtered and whatevered, like people are going to appreciate a blemish. They're going to be like, wow, like instantly it's going to have like something. It's
like imperfection becomes king.
Yeah.
It's weird because AI is also getting good at like knowing imperfection. You can tell when you
now it's like
a year ago
I know.
You hear AI talking and it still sounded like Siri, and now you hear AI talking like, I keep referencing ChatGPT just because I think they're ahead of the curve. But the pauses, the inflections, the ums they throw in, like all that imperfection is now starting to get learned.
So
and
gross.
it's even
It is gross, though.
it's
There's
even
an
getting
element
it's
of
even
it.
getting put in images.
No.
So I don't know how long it'll be before it can
Yeah.
pull off like a Bob Dylan imperfection. Like how long will it be till they can all of a sudden be like that unique? So I don't know, but it's still not something to be afraid of. It's just if you want to continue forward as an artist,
Mm-hmm.
if you want to collaborate with others, you have to be human.
learn
And I think for people to
technology.
come to you as a
Yeah.
collaborator, they're going to come to you because you bring that human, authentic individuality that only God gave to you,
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think that I think if you're not doing that, it's going to be that people are going to go to AI because it's
Yeah.
faster and cheaper.
But I think that people are going to start teaching classes. I think that creatives are going to start teaching AI to people who don't know it. And like I think that there's going to be like courses on it. I think
Well,
there's
that's
going to
already
be
there.
Okay, see?
Yeah. Like
and then
you
I
can
think I
already-
think there's going to literally be
my
like
feed is like filled with
courses on AI.
these are the trending prompts. Like this is like
Right.
the
Right.
So people are finding ways to. I was just watching a video on how ChatGPT in 2025, 7 game-changing features coming in 2025.
Yeah.
So people are already kind of doing that. But
Yeah.
you know,
But that's the thing is like I think that a lot of creatives are just going to end up using AI, to be honest with you. But I think that there's a little bit of a death of something every time technology advances, every time. And like
Yeah.
video killed the radio star. Like that's just it,
YouTube killed the video star.
What's that?
YouTube killed the video star.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
YouTubers
It just
are now.
keeps going.
Yeah.
It's this evolution of collaboration, bringing it back to collaboration
Yeah.
of how we collaborate, of like even incorporating it into your collaborations. I actually think that people are going to be like, hey, I just asked chat. This is what came up. This is what we're headed for though. Like this is my unedited version. This is that. Like, I think it's just going to start being incorporated like
Right.
100%. And I think that there's definitely times where I think it's kind of wrong to use it. And I think that's when anytime anything's like a false claim, it's wrong.
I have a perfect
It's
example
wrong.
of that where I felt like I need to not use ChatGPT for this. So I'm kind of starting to write like a little bit, there's kind of this book I kind of want to start putting together.
Cool.
And instead of asking ChatGPT for like an outline on a chapter, I'm totally doing this completely on me.
Nice.
Like I'm putting in that effort. I'm struggling.
Nice.
I'm getting writer's block instead of going to AI because this whole concept is something that means a lot to me. And, obviously we'll roll more on that out as time goes on, but I feel really strongly not to use AI, especially because so much of this concept is all analog and like actually unplugging and resting from that kind of stuff. So, I think there's got to be moments where you decide I'm not going to use this tool to fast forward this.
Right.
This needs to struggle.
Right.
And I think that's also going to become a little bit of a skill.
There is something in the creative process where the struggle, like we're talking about when you're collaborating and it is a struggle to get to the end, how it's better.
Yeah.
So without the struggle, you're not really getting any better.
Exactly.
Like you're making AI better.
Yeah.
You're not getting better.
Ooh, we're discovering another major thing
Wait
here.
a minute.
It's just struggle is like part of
Struggle
collaboration, but it always
yeah.
brings
result.
the result.
Like it molds you, you know what I mean? And makes you I don't know. It's so funny.
The greater the struggle, the greater the reward. I mean, these are like tried and true principles.
I was talking about Michelangelo earlier. And
just casually
talking about him. And I was like, looking
Mikey,
at quotes. But honestly, I was like, he has the best quotes ever. Like if you look up all his quotes, they're so
straight fire,
so inspiring. Yep. And there's one, and I'm going to misquote it. So maybe we should fact check this, but it was like, basically, if you knew how hard I worked for my mastery, like to master what I've done. If you know how hard I've worked for my mastery, it wouldn't seem so like
attractive,
amazing,
or it wouldn't
at all,
seem so
or
amazing.
mystical.
People
at
just
all.
kind of see the end result, but they don't even know the journey that gets there.
Yeah.
No.
So I think with AI, sometimes we can cheat, and so I think it's just knowing when you can cheat and knowing when you need to do the work.
Right.
I think it comes down to that, and
100%.
honesty, obviously, but incorporate it. try it. You got to learn things to know if you hate it.
Right. Well, that's for
You got to
sure.
really know like what's up, you
Right.
know?
Well, this is
I
a
know,
good.
sorry, I had to take my shoes off.
No, it's all good. This is a good segue then into kind of like wrapping things up, but the collaborating with your partner, because I think you and I like are unique in that sense where we spend a lot of time collaborating, and there's definitely some friction at times, and I think that a lot of the times though, it always ends in a great spot because we kind of are challenging each other. You had literally just mentioned like 20 minutes ago, before we started, that like you'll put this little chair over here because you like it there, and I'll be like, I think it's better over here. Like little things like that. So you and I are unique too because we also collaborate like with work and stuff like that. I did music I put the music together for your last show.
Yeah.
And I'm just wondering, how do you feel about the fact that we collaborate together in that regard?
Like just like partnership.
Yeah, like
collaborating
what's
within,
it like collaborating specifically with your partner?
You know what? I think that I will say that everybody has to learn the art of collaboration within their families, whether you are artistic or not. Like, you know what I mean? I think that relationally, it's such a good practice to just respect and honor everyone in the room,
Right.
And I think that if you can accomplish that at home, like if you're able to actually accomplish that at home, you can accomplish that anywhere.
Right.
Because when you're at home, that's where everything is so real.
Right.
Your emotions, like there's no veil. There's no like pretending to be a certain way or being professional or you're not wearing any kind of mask.
Right.
You're home with your
Right.
family of the people who know you the best.
Right.
And so I think that whether we fall short of that at times, like I do, or you're succeeding at that
Or same
times.
here.
Yeah, it's like such the perfect opportunity to kind of be like, to check yourself and to be like, like, am I growing?
Yeah.
Is our relationship growing from this?
Right.
So not only is the friction growing me, like in collaboration outside, like in work and in the world,
Right.
but the friction in your relationship, if you're dealing with it the right way, I feel like, and you're coming outside the other end of that unscathed, really, and really with like we got to the bottom of this and we can like move forward from that.
Mhm.
I think that that's just so valuable.
Yeah.
Because I mean that's lifelong. That's lifelong lasting.
That
stuff.
really brings up a great perspective about the fact that we live our lives this way, like who you are when no one's looking is
Right.
kind of how, like really who you are. And so in a weird way, how I love the idea of how you are in collaborating with your family or the people that you live with, your partner, your children. It's almost like this holistic thing where then if you bring in work to it and then the work life, it's like you're bringing that same amount of patience that you've learned. You're bringing that same amount of maybe honesty, that you learn at home. You're bringing that same amount of or if you're not dealing with it, you're going to bring to your collaborations kind of this timidity, maybe like lack of confidence because you're not getting edified or encouraged at home. I mean, it's kind of weird now. You're bringing up this whole other concept of like how you collaborate with your partner or your family then will affect how you collaborate outside with your friends, with your coworkers and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
and how growing it starts at home. Like it starts that you're growing, with your partner, growing as a person.
Right.
And if you could figure out how to communicate, well, this is for sure as a married couple, this is advice that I give to people all the time, like always be polite to each other.
Oh yeah.
So it's almost like those little principles, like with your partner, with your husband or wife, whatever, you are, if you're kind of getting in an argument or something like that, you might want to like blow up, or if someone's annoying you, you might want to be short with them. But if you're always polite, there's like a filter where you kind of have to realize like, okay, like I'm not going to just like rage on this person. I'm going to try to communicate in a way that, and you don't want to be passive aggressive. People can take that to an extreme where they're like, I see you didn't do the dishes again. That's also like not necessarily a great thing to do, but to be honest, to learn how to be honest and be like, hey, like, I know you haven't been doing this maybe I can help or something like that. And it's the same, like when you're collaborating on a project,
It
it's
is the
like,
same.
hey, like, I think that was cool, but maybe we can try this. How can I help you achieve that? You know, like, so go
Something
ahead.
you were saying, it just made me think of like soil, basically, like your collaboration with your partner, or at home, like whoever you're with, you know, in all your true color, all that. It's that foundational, like you're tilling the soil, you're making it a certain type of, like, I don't know, foundation and a platform really to build everything in a healthy way, right? So if you're working on that soil and making sure that you are practicing patience and that kindness and that like polite and that honesty and that like hard conversations and getting to the bottom of things and making sure that the right answer is the right answer regardless of your own pride, and you're like just tilling that soil and just making sure that it's really rich and good, something beautiful is gonna grow.
100%.
Something beautiful is gonna grow out of
100%.
that. Yeah.
Wow. I feel like there's no, like, what else can we, like, you know, keep saying? I mean, it's just like you basically have to work on yourself to be a good collaborator. And it starts with the first person that lives with you.
I feel convicted.
Then you go for the person that lives with you. And if you can collaborate with them, then it just keeps getting easier and easier. And
Truly.
you're equipped with the proper skills you need to communicate.
And don't shy away from it.
Never
Don't shy away from it.
Yeah,
Jump
yeah.
into every collaboration
And
you
if
can
there
ever
is
try to
friction in
collaborate.
collaboration, like, you know, you might be making some gold. You might be like making a great garden. Or you might be, you know, what is it? Friction makes
You're
a
getting
diamond.
the rocks out.
The pressure makes a diamond or whatever like that.
So many analogies in this one. But yeah, but truly, I think don't shy away from it. Jump in the deep end. Even if you feel like you're sinking, you know what I mean?
Right.
It's just worth it. And even if there's failure and then people are witnessing your failure, all of it is like shaping you as an artist.
100%.
Yeah.
All
Okay.
right. Well,
Hey.
I guess that's it.
Hey.
I don't know.
All
What else
right.
do we have to say? I don't know.
Let's go collaborate.
Let's go collaborate on some dinner. Sounds good to me.
Let's go.